Hey, what's going on, everybody? Mill here with another post-game show. I'm sorry this one's a little bit late. I was dealing with a little bit of stuff going on here. Um, it is my sister's birthday, so I just had dinner with her. Excuse me for being a little late. And I just witnessed the New York Liberty lose their finals game, so I'm a little bummed about that. I just witnessed that. Um, that's still replaying in my mind a little bit. I mean, it's crazy. For anyone that was watching the Liberty game just now, you saw that they were so close to winning it, down by 1 point, and they shot an air ball for their game winner. I would say that the person who shot that wasn't supposed to take that shot. Vandersloot, if you know the Liberty, you don't want her taking the shot. But besides that, I am bummed about the Liberty losing. Let's move on to the New York Knicks. Speaking of the Liberty losing, our drought of New York basketball championships it continues. We're on to like 50 years now. If the Liberty had won tonight, that would have ended. They would have, had the first championship in however long. But they didn't. So let's move on to this Knicks game. The Knicks lost 131 to 106 against the Washington Wizards. So they did go 1-3 in their preseason. A little disappointing. Obviously, you don't want to have a losing season in preseason, but it doesn't really matter. But still, you want to win those games and try your hardest. Let's talk about it. As I said earlier, I was out a little bit earlier, so I didn't get to watch a lot of the game, but I tried to watch as much as I could. It did look super sloppy, though, from what I saw. So many turnovers, so many fouls. And we're going to talk about specifically how much each team had right now. Let's look over at these team stats. So the Knicks had 15 turnovers and the Wizards had 14. Pretty even right there, but 30 turnovers altogether, that's a very sloppy game. Those are a lot of turnovers, and I felt like every time I was watching, when I could tune in, the Knicks were turning it over. They're forcing a pass that didn't need to be forced, or a lot of sloppy play that we were seeing. And I get it. These guys are trying to get their legs under them still, and they're getting back into rhythm, getting back into pace. But we need them to be ready because this is their last preseason game. So the next time the Knicks play, it's going to be a real game, and they have to go hard because look at who they're going to be up against, the Boston Celtics, with a full squad, a hardcore squad. So from what I saw tonight, I was very disappointed by them. To lose to the Wizards, not saying that the Wizards are necessarily a bad team, but they didn't have Kyle Kuzma. Come on, we should have won this game. Our starters played a lot of minutes. Let's look specifically how much each starter played. Randall played 29. Robinson played 24. Brunson played 25, and RJ played 34. RJ played almost the entire game, and the rest of the starters, they played a majority of the game as well. And if this is their best effort, then they've got to be better. The Wizards is a team, we have to beat the Wizards. They're a team we have to beat. I didn't even think they were on our radar to beat us. I consider us as one of the top teams in the East right now. So to have the Wizards come out here and beat us, it's a little embarrassing and a little disappointing to see that happen. I don't like the defense that I saw at all. It looks like the same defense from last year, but I'm not going to go too crazy on it. I'm not going to say this is the same Knicks from last year, but from what we saw today, it pretty much looked like what we saw in those playoff games when the Knicks were struggling to defend their perimeter shooting, and it wasn't good to watch. Specifically, let's just go through everyone down the list, talk about their points and their contributions. So Julius Randle, as we said, he played 29 minutes and he had 20 points. He had a good game. If you guys saw, he had a crazy poster early in the game. I might play that in the highlights soon, so we'll see that. But besides that, he played a good game, 8 for 15 from the field, 4 for 6 from the 3-point line, and he had 10 rebounds. So I like what I saw from him. You know, we have to remember he's still getting his legs under him as well because he had surgery in June. So that wasn't too long ago. That was a few months ago. So you know, I don't expect him to come out as explosive, but that poster that we saw, that looked like a brand new Julius Randle. That looked like Randle midseason form, ready to attack and be dominant. A lot of people are saying it's those Skechers he's got on. That was funny. But honestly, I don't have my expectations too high for him right now just because of that surgery that took place. And, you know, if he does tend to struggle in the first few games, I don't think I'm going to be too mad about it because he has to get back into rhythm, back into pace and everything. And he has to get his shots flowing again, you know, what every player has to do when they start the season. Mitchell Robinson had another good game. He played 24 minutes. He was 6 for 9 from the field, had 12 points overall and 11 rebounds. Another great game. He's been great this preseason. I love what I've been seeing from Robinson. You know, not only is he getting those rebounds, but he's getting some shots too. You know, most of them are dunks and everything, but that's what we expect from him. We expect him to make those dunks, those easy shots under the basket. So I'm happy he had another good game. And 12 points is all we can ask for, really. You know, I wouldn't ask for anything more. 12 points and 10 rebounds, maybe a few blocks there, here and there. That's all we can ask for from him. Jalen Brunson, he was 3 for 12 from the field, 1 for 5 from the 3-point line, and overall he had 12 points. So he didn't have that much of a great game. He was shooting poorly, as I said, 3 for 12 from the field. You know, that's not really the Brunson we're used to seeing. You know, Brunson is usually great from the field, 50%. So, I mean, again, he has to get better. He has to get back into rhythm. The shots weren't falling tonight, but that doesn't mean they're not going to fall the next game. So 1 for 5 from 3 too. I'd love for him to improve those 3-point shots because we talk about it over and over again. We need better 3-point shooting. It's a necessity. Sorry, I have to mention this, but he did have 6 rebounds and 5 assists as well. So even though he was shooting poorly, he did have 5 assists and 6 rebounds, which is a nice overall game there. And I like to see that from your guards when they're not playing that well on the offensive end. They're still out there hustling, you know, getting rebounds and still sharing the ball as he's supposed to. He is the point guard. So RJ Barrett, let's get on to him. He played 34 minutes. Wow, he played the most out of all of them. He was 8 for 19 from the field, 3 for 8 from the 3-point line, and overall he had 19 points. Another good game from RJ. The last few games we've been seeing him, you know, play better and better, scoring more, and he's shooting a lot of mid-range shots and a lot of mid-range shots. So I'm glad to see him shooting those type of shots and making them because we want him to be consistent. We want him to be efficient. As long as he could get that mid-range down, you know, that helps his game so much and that could help us so much. Those are easy shots, you know, 5 feet from the basket. You got to make those. And I think those are one of his specialties and that he can improve on as well. A little pull-up jumper, all of that. And he was 3 for 8 from the 3-point line. So that's pretty good for him to see him make a few threes because again, he did struggle from the 3-point line last season as well, but he did put up a few threes today, so love to see that. And he also had 7 rebounds. That's kind of impressive. He usually doesn't get that much, but he had 3 assists as well. Overall, a good game by RJ. Grimes played 17 minutes. He played the least amount of minutes out of all the starters. He was 1 for 4 from the field, 1 for 4 from 3, and overall had 5 points. So after the game that he had yesterday. And, he was shooting lights out prior to this game. We expected a little bit more from him, or at least I did. I wanted him to have another great shooting night. So, but it's okay because, the guys need to find a rhythm and they need to find consistency within themselves. The main thing that all the Knicks need to focus on this season is being consistent. You can't shoot a great percentage one night and then bad percentages the next night, going 1 for 5, 1 for 6. The key is to be consistent, I can't stress it enough. So Grimes definitely, he needs to be taking more shots too, because he only took 4 3-pointers. We know he's a 3-point shooter, so he should be taking more 3-point shots. Brunson and Randall and the other guys got to look for him out there. But let's move on to our bench guys. Isaiah Hartenstein played 18 minutes, and he was 4 for 8 from the field. He was 0 for 1 from 3. I'm surprised he didn't make a 3 this game, because he made a 3 last night, and then he made a 3 the preseason game prior. So he's been making a 3 every preseason game, but he missed his one tonight. He needs to be taking more 3-pointers. It's preseason. This is the time for him to be experimenting that and to see how good of a 3-point shooter he really is out there on the floor. I definitely wanted to see him take more 3-pointers. Unfortunately, we won't get to see that until the regular season starts. But he also had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 9 points overall. A good game by him. He played a lot of minutes as well, 18. Jericho Sims only played 7 minutes. He didn't. I'm not really going to go through his stat line because he didn't have any points or rebounds or anything. McBride, he played 23 minutes, and he was 2 for 7 from the field. He was 1 for 4 from the 3-point line, and overall only had 5 points. So I would have liked to see a little bit more from McBride in 23 minutes. He was out there for a while. Would have liked to see him score a little bit more. He had 5 assists though, so that's pretty good, being the backup point guard in this lineup today. Forgot to mention this, but Emmanuel Quickly did not play. I believe they said he's dealing with, I don't want to say injury. I don't think they declared it as an injury yet. Tibbs has a way of wording these things. He said the same thing about Josh Hart, that he's a little, he's just recovering from FIBA. So I think it's something similar with IQ. He's probably just, there's probably nothing too crazy going on or any injury like that. He's just recovering a little bit and resting up to start the season. So, since he didn't play, McBride took his spot in the backup point guard position. But from what I saw, McBride has been having a great preseason. The other day he shot perfect percentages. He was 4 for 4, 6 for 6 from the field and the 3-point line. So I think we expected a little bit more of that type of game today as well, to shoot a little more better. Josh Hart got to play as well. We didn't see Hart. I haven't seen Hart for a while. That one game he did play, it was in the first half only, and I missed that first half. So this was my first time really seeing him in the preseason. He played 19 minutes. He was, let me see these comments. I'm going to get to the comments after I finish talking about the bench for a second. So Josh Hart played 19 minutes. He was 2 for 3 from the field, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line. He had 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and overall 8 points. A good all-around game from him. We know him. He is out there to get the rebounds. He's out there looking for assists. He's the guy with the all-around type of game. So this was a good game from him. And, on the defensive end, he's doing his thing. He's out there like a pest. And Dante DiVincenzo played 24 minutes. He was 3 for 7 from the field, 1 for 3 from the 3-point line and had 7 points. In 24 minutes, I would have liked to see more from Dante. You know, he only had 7 points. We signed him because he's a 3-and-D guy, so he's out there for the defense, but he's also out there to get us points. We need him to be scoring threes when we need those shots falling. And we needed those shots to fall this game because the offense was really messed up at times. I saw a lot of, it's just not a lot of team plays, I would say. Not a lot of team ball going out there. You know, Randall would do his thing, but he was having a good game, so he would do his ISO ball, and then Brunson wasn't having a good game, so it just wasn't good when he would go out there and do his own thing as well. But DiVincenzo, let's see. Yeah, that's pretty much the bench I'm going to go through. The other guys that play that are very deep into our bench, there's not really a point in going through them. But if you guys didn't know, Isaiah Roby got waived as well as Jalen Martin today. It actually happened very close to game time. I would say like maybe an hour or a few hours before game time. I was very surprised by that. I couldn't believe it. Jalen Martin, understandable, but also, I mean, he barely got playing time in the preseason. We didn't really get to see much of him besides the summer league. There's a possibility I think he could sign with Westchester or they'll send him down there. So hopefully that can happen because, you know, I'd like to have seen more from him. But Isaiah Roby is what surprised me the most because he's actually had a few good games in this preseason so far, especially last night. He was great. I believe he had 11 points, a few 3-pointers. And I was saying this earlier that he could fill Obi Toppin's role perfectly. You know, the backup 4 behind Randall, playing only 11 to 12 minutes per night. He could fill that perfectly and he wouldn't be upset about it. So the Knicks are really set, I think, on having Sims at the 4 if they waive Roby. I honestly think Thibodeau should have experimented with it a little bit. I know he did in the preseason, but you know, there's a chance that Sims at the 4 might not work out. I'm skeptical about it. Sims is not a shooter. We know that. We've seen it. If you've seen him take shots this preseason, he is not a shooter. He shoots when he is going. When he jumps up and he's going back down, that's when he shoots the ball. No discredit to Sims. He's a great center, but I don't know if he could be a forward like that. You know, the way Obi would ran the floor too as well, and in those fast breaks, I just don't see Sims doing that as well. I honestly think Roby would have been a good replacement. So yeah, if you guys didn't know, Jalen Martin and Isaiah Roby got waived. It's not crazy news, of course, but if you didn't know, just thought I'd let you know. Let's get on to some of these comments. I don't even know if I'm allowed to show this one on the screen, but I'm going to do it. New York can't win. I know, this game was so sloppy and messy. It wasn't nice to look at. I got to watch bits and pieces of it, but from what I saw, this was not a good game, especially the first half. And then, like, we could never catch up after that second half. After the first half, we could never catch up back to them. And they didn't have Kuzma. Like, what are we doing? I have to give credit to Jordan Poole because I know they don't have Kuzma, but Jordan Poole carried them. He had 29 points in the first half alone. So there you go. We couldn't stop him. Can't believe the Liberty just folded like that. I know. Oh my God. I'm so distraught after just watching that and then hopping on here. They were so close. So close. Like, they had the ball in their hands. They had to make the right move, but they couldn't. They folded under pressure, like you said. Sucks to see. Let's go Knicks. Let's go Knicks, yeah. But tonight was not a good game. I'll be at the game on opening night. Oh, that's what's up. Hopefully they get the win. We're playing Boston, so that should be a good game, though. You get to see the Boston squad for the first time in full effect on opening night. So someone said, I don't like Sims. He's awful. I don't think he's awful, but I think if we were to put him at the 4, we're not utilizing him correctly. He's meant to be a center. Just you could just look at him and he's meant to be a center, and his mechanics, the way he moves, he plays like a center. If the Knicks intend to use him as a 4, I really don't know how it's going to work out. I'm skeptical about it. Julius, 20 and 10 in 19 minutes, looks fully healed. I know. And I was talking about it earlier that he had his surgery back in June. But he looks great out there. And he had a crazy dunk. It's those Skechers, all right? They fully healed his ankle right there. That hurt to watch, no lie. The Knicks or the Liberty, because honestly, both. Those both hurt to watch. That could have been New York's first chip in years. I know. Yeah, the Liberty Championship. I know. We were so close. It hurts. Sims has fantastic defense and lateral movement for a guy his size. Yeah, his defense is definitely his strong suit. That's one thing I love about him as a player. But his offensive game, it needs improvement. His hops are crazy too. He always gets up there for a dunk. Sims is a younger, more athletic Mitchell Robinson. I don't see the point in keeping him, to be honest. Hopefully we trade him or trade Robinson for a stretch big center. A younger and more athletic Mitchell Robinson. Yeah, I mean, we already have Mitchell Robinson. We already have Hardenstein. I didn't see a point in keeping him until this, the past few months when we let OB, when we traded OB. They found a new role for him. He was supposed to be the third string center, but now he's our backup forward. It's crazy how things work out. But I'm not sure if this is 100% true, but I believe I saw somewhere where the Knicks said that Sims and McBride are off limits in trade talks. So if the Knicks said that, then he's not going anywhere anytime soon. They're adamant about keeping their young core. They must see a lot of potential in him and McBride. He ain't no forward. I know. I don't see it right now. If he can improve, but the season is about to start. He doesn't have much time to fully develop into a forward. Like, if you're thinking about it, when he heard the news that OB was gone, and maybe they let him know in the few weeks that, or, maybe when they got to training camp, that's when they decided they wanted to use him as a 4. That was recently. So he has not had enough time to develop into a forward. I just think it's way too soon. And it could end up being a mess when we play Boston. I don't know. Low Vegas said, I'm not loving this team. I'm going to hope for the best, but I'm not moved by what I'm seeing so far. Yeah, Low, tonight was not good. I was very disappointed by what I saw as well. They need to make a lot of improvements. And it's almost every player that needs to make improvements from what I saw tonight. And just the defense overall it's awful still. Like, if you look at how we played in the playoffs last year against Miami Heat, and you looked at this game, you would see a lot of similarities. They need to improve. I mean, all of our starters played tonight. When we played against the Washington Wizards, who had Jordan Poole, and they had no Kuzma. Okay, this is a team we're projected to beat. They weren't on our radar as a team that is going to beat us. So for us to go out here and lose, I know everyone's saying it's preseason, and I said that as well. But it's our last preseason game. Let's look at it like this. This is the game that's closest to the regular season. We should have won this game. All of our starters played and everything. So this was almost real basketball. Same problems from last year. I could see it. The defense is not there yet. I didn't see the hustle and desire from anyone. Josh Hart and DiVincenzo are supposed to be those guys now that are out there to do their thing, to provide that hustle. I'm going to look at some team stats over here. So from the field, the Knicks shot 43% and the Wizards shot 50%. So there you have it. The Wizards were making more of their shots. I mean, you're shooting 50% from the field. That's a great percentage. From the three-point line, the Knicks were shooting 35%. And the Wizards were shooting 44%. So, we only had 14 threes. They had 20. I want to see the Knicks make more threes. We're getting a lot of looks, a lot of open looks, a lot of good looks, but sometimes we just don't hit them. From the free throw line, oh man. What? The Knicks shot 57% from the free throw line. They were 12 for 21. Oh my God. They missed 9 free throws? That's awful. 57%. Yeah, I talked about this last game that the Knicks need to make their free throws. Free throws should be free points. It shouldn't be that complicated. Those 8 points that we missed from the free throw line, it could make a difference. Very disappointed by that. And the Wizards were 91% from the free throw line. So the better team will make their free throws. They'll shoot better from the three-point line. They'll shoot better from the field. And we couldn't seem to do any of those. Rebounds were even between both teams. The Wizards did get more defensive rebounds, though. Let's see. So Loaf said, I still don't understand the DiVincenzo signing. With Quickly back, I just don't see where he gets minutes. So I believe the bench is going to look a little bit like this with Quickly at point guard, Dante DiVincenzo at shooting guard, Josh Hart at small forward, and Sims at the 4, Hartenstein at the 5. So, that's if they play like only bench players, which I don't really see happening because, if you were watching the Knicks last year, Tibbs would play a 9-man rotation for most of the year. So, there could be some issues with minutes there, but I truly believe they fully intend on using DiVincenzo in this lineup and intend on playing him. He just signed his contract with us, so they want to see what he has to prove and what he has to show us. Let's go back to some team stats. Blocks, the Wizards had 4 and the Knicks had 0. Okay, I guess Mitch didn't have any tonight. He usually has like 2 or 3. And Sims didn't have any either. When our bigs aren't blocking, there's something wrong. Steals, the Wizards had 12, Knicks had 5. Yeah, with how sloppy we were playing, I'm not surprised they had 12 steals against us. It was very sloppy work out there. I don't know what to blame it on. You could say maybe it's the players aren't playing enough. There's 4 preseason games. There used to be more. And they're not even playing in most of the games. the starters didn't play last night, and the other 2 games, they played a little bit. But it's not the lineups we're used to seeing in the regular season, and they do that purposely. But are these players ready to start the season with basically only 3 games that they've played in, limited minutes in 2 of them? So you're saying these players, well, the Knicks, because I don't know if the players on other teams have been doing it differently and been playing different minutes. But the Knicks starters, they've played 1 full game preseason, and they're ready to start. They're ready to start the season against the Celtics. No, I don't believe it. From what I saw tonight, they're not ready. They're not ready. That's why I don't understand. I could see why Tibbs does different lineups in the preseason and plays, the bench for most of the game. But get these players back in rhythm with each other so that they can be ready for when the season starts. They're ready. It's not a slow start. They know one another. They know how to play with each other. I don't get it. I just don't want another slow start. We always beat the Celtics on opening night. And I feel like every time we played the Celtics last year or the year before, Fournier would always go off on them. He would have a 30-point game, or I don't even know. It's just a crazy game like that, and would shoot like 6 3-pointers. I don't even think he's going to play, though, in that game. So it's really going to be a tough game to start the season against them. They've got a crazy squad there. And Porzingis looks good. He looks really dominant, back to maybe his old Knicks self before he went to the Mavs, before he got hurt. He looks similar to that kind of guy. We should be fine by opening night, but I don't think we're going to beat Boston. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go too crazy. I just think that I was a little disappointed by what I saw tonight. And I just don't know if they're fully ready to start the season. We couldn't hang in this game. This is the Wizards. It was 131 to 106. They beat us by 20 points. And that's with our starters playing, most of the game. RJ Barrett played 34 minutes. Randall played 20 plus minutes. Brunson played 20 plus minutes. So I went over the turnovers. Knicks had 15. Wizards had 14. Interesting thing, though, the Knicks had 32 points off of turnovers, and the Wizards had 7. So clearly, that's one of our strong suits right there. We had 32 points off of turnovers. When they turn over the ball, we need to push it out there and get it to the rim quick. Few quick passes and then shoot when they turn over the ball. Lo asks me, what are your finals predictions? I got Celtics versus Nuggets. Lakers, I can't decide. Oh, that's tough. I know a lot of people are saying the Celtics, but I'm honestly, I'm a Knicks fan, but let me be a little realistic here. I'm going to say the Bucks are probably going to make it all the way to the finals. Now from the West, Nuggets might repeat. Jokic, one of the best players in this league. And I could see him doing a repeat if he plays the same way that he's been playing. Now the Lakers, they actually have a really good bench. They got a lot of shooters this offseason. So they surrounded LeBron, Anthony Davis with a lot of good shooters this time. And I could see them potentially making it there too. The Warriors are also up there, depending on if Chris Paul and Stephen Curry can play together in that sense, and if Chris Paul, fits in with this team. There's a few teams that I could potentially see going into the finals. It's going to be tough. Brandon said Poole looks like he's going to be filthy. He does. 29 points in the first half. Let me check how much he had by the end of the game. He had 41. Oh, no, I didn't know he reached 40. He had a 41-point game against us in preseason. Just imagine what he's going to do in the regular season, guys. No, he was shooting like crazy out there. 6 threes, 10 for 19 from the field. Man, a lot of people are underrating him too. And they said when he goes off onto another team, he wouldn't be able to do anything. But clearly he's showing everyone they're wrong. And we saw what he could do in the Warriors. I'm honestly not surprised he's doing this on the Wizards. He's taking control. He's put into the spotlight for once. And he could finally lead a team by himself. And Kuzma. Brandon said, I got Lakers versus Celtics. Yeah, I could see that happening. That's what was supposed to happen last season. You guys all know the theory that they both have the same amount of championships. So the NBA script says, someone has to have more. But that script didn't come true. So we'll see if it happens this season. Hopefully not, though. Knicks are going to the finals. I also don't see Evan and McBride playing in the regular season. Yeah, I don't really see them getting any minutes at all. I said this before, though. If someone were to go down, I think that McBride would be the first man up there to fill that spot. No matter who it is that goes down, he is going to be ready. And I guarantee you Tibbs is going to play him. I like what I saw from McBride this preseason, and we know he's a great defensive player. But I don't think he's going to get many minutes. It's really tough because we have so many guards. There's not a spot for him right now, and we just signed DiVincenzo, another guard. And Evan as well. I'm sorry, Evan. You are being held hostage on that bench. I don't see Evan getting any more minutes. Unfortunately, that's just how it is. The facts were the facts that we played better when Evan was on the bench. So I don't see us bringing him back out to start the season. Why would we take a step backwards? The Lakers are so deep. They definitely are. They just have a bunch of shooters. Knicks always letting someone get their career high. Yeah, it always feels like that. It's crazy. Every game, like every single game that the Knicks play, someone from the opposing team will always just show out, have a great game. And this is a guy that probably averages like 8 to 9 points a game. Not Jordan Poole. I'm not talking about Jordan Poole, but sometimes it'll be the most random NBA players that go off against the Knicks. But Jordan Poole having 41 in a preseason game against the Knicks is pretty wild. That's probably his preseason career high. But he's also showing he has something to prove. I think he wants to show a lot of people that. It's the Garden. They want to shine on the biggest stage. It's true. I think that the Garden gives some people powers. It's unfortunate that most of the time it's people on the opposing team. There's been so many moments of history here as well. I want to try to show some highlights on this screen. So we're going to take a little break and I'm going to get the highlights going so we can watch the game a little bit, break it down a little bit more. All right, we're back, and I got some highlights up here. We're going to look at this pretty awful first half. Not awful for Julius Randle, though. He had a good game. But the Knicks on the defensive end, it was not nice to see. Let's see if we could get any more comments going up here, too. I got to catch bits and pieces, but it'll be nice to see more highlights. RJ driving to the basket. Need to see that more because he's so good at it. Another one. That's his specialty. And we know he has to work on his three-point shot, but if he can just continue doing what he does best, which is driving to the basket, as you see again. Or no, that's Randall. Oh, that dunk. They got shooters. Our perimeter defense has to be a lot better. 3 after 3. Let me guess another one. Oh my god. They were going crazy from the three-point line in the first half. How many threes did they have overall? Let me check. So they had 23s. Over and over. If I'm not mistaken, that's similar to the amount of threes that we saw last night from the opposing team. The Celtics. We got Hardenstein doing his thing. I hope Hardenstein continues to have another great year. It's not talked about enough how good of a year he had, how good of a season he had last season. He's one of the reasons that we were able to get to the playoffs and we were able to be a better team. Having that backup center position secured, it's really helpful. And he's a really underrated passer for a big man. I don't know who came up with it at first, but someone said he's Jokic of the East, which is hilarious. I don't know if he's on that level yet, but passing wise, definitely. That's how you run a fast break. We had a good first half until 4 minutes left in the second. Yeah, and that's mainly when Jordan Poole started killing us. He went on a very hot streak at the end there. Yeah, we just couldn't stop him. Now we're in the second half already. Oh, I love this play. I love that play when in that fast break and he kicked it out to RJ. Need more team plays like that. Make the right passes. Don't force anything. Nice fast break. We had 32 points off of their turnovers. I'm seeing a lot of highlights of that now. That's one positive, though. If we can keep that up, continuing to capitalize off of their turnovers, that'll be very helpful. Mitch with the dunk there. Oof, that's a crazy pass. I'm gonna pour one up for the libs. I still can't believe that. After this live stream ends, I'm just gonna read all of the comments and everything about the Liberty. We're not getting out there on the 3-point line fast enough. Like, some of these guys are just wide open. We're leaving them wide open. And then by the time we get out there to defend them, they've already released their shot. How can we just expect them to miss it? If they're open, they're going to take it. Yeah, a little bit of a comeback here. The Knicks did cut the lead down. We got a little bit in a groove. McBride with a nice floater. Where's the defense in the paint? More threes. Starts with the threes. That was a nice shot by RJ. We don't really see him do that a lot. Pull up, dribble a little, then take that mid-range. Truly believe he can master the mid-range this season. The 3-point shot, I don't know if he can master it, but he can definitely improve on it. That's what I'd like to see. Sloppy work right there. That was a nice drive. DiVincenzo can drive. Very underrated. Yeah, this is pretty much just the bench players here. We got Evan Fournier, Sims, Hart, McBride. At this point, we were out of the game. I mean, long before this point, we were out of the game, but bro, someone always has to score on Fournier. His defense. Coming up on 2 minutes left. You know, Fournier could get scored on, but he'll go right back and score on someone else. He's a good three-point shooter, but his defense is not there. And that's pretty much the end of the game. Gonna go back to the one slideshow and close this up. Give me a moment. Thank you. So that was pretty much the game. We went through everyone in the box score, looked at some team stats, and even some highlights just now. Unfortunately, most of them were better highlights for the Wizards than they were for the Knicks. Disappointing loss for sure. I wouldn't be mad at some fans for being disappointed tonight, seeing their starters, play so sloppy and not the Knicks basketball we were used to seeing last season. I expect them to be ready by opening night, October 25th, 7:30 p.m. against the Celtics. They have to be ready. And we're going to take the win, okay? We're going to be confident. I'm not praying down on these Knicks to lose. So the Knicks were overall 1-3 in preseason. They did have a losing record, unfortunately. But it's a good thing preseason doesn't matter, and we didn't start the season 1-3 because I would be a lot more upset right now. I'd probably be yelling a little bit. But thank you again for everyone that tuned in to this Knicks post-game show. I was a little bit late. Sorry about that. I had some stuff going on here. But again, thank you for anyone that tuned in and commented, of course. And if you are watching the replay, you could still leave comments. We could always watch it. We could read them when we visit the YouTube channel. So I'll see you guys opening night. This was the last preseason game, October 25th, which is in 7 days. So I'll see you guys then. Tune into the next one. Thanks.